This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, the University of Otago is studying babies in water to see how the swimming environment affects very young humans. A project to help promote Bullock Creek in Wanaka has taken another step forward. And mountain bikers around Oamaru haven't let wintry weather put them off competing during the colder months. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. A Dunedin researcher is studying how infants respond to water. Her investigations with babies at Moana Pool have already shown young children are more likely to venture into deep water if it's a gentle slope and not a steep drop-off into the water.
University of Otago researcher Dr. Carolina Burney is using Dunedin's Moana Pool to research how babies respond to the dangers of water. With the help of new mothers, the study has shown that if a pond or pool has a steep drop-off, infants can see it's unsafe. But if there's a sloped entrance into the water, it can be enticing for young children.
They don't understand avoiding going into the water. If it's not a fall leading to the water, they just go. If they can walk or crawl to the water, they go. If there is a fall, they think twice and maybe they're not going.
Burney says the more crawling experience an infant has, the more likely they will avoid falling into water. And she says protecting babies too much prevents them from learning how to perceive risks around them.
Protecting the babies too much is actually doing the opposite. They are not learning how to perceive the risk and they are not learning how to avoid the risk. We need to allow them to crawl, to have this experience, to start perceiving what's risky and what's not risky.
Burney started her study in Portugal with more than 200 babies. Now in Dunedin, she studied the behaviour of more than 90 infants under 1.5 years old. And she plans to go back to Portugal for more backup studies, just in case there are cultural differences in the behaviours of young children.
So now I'm testing babies in Moana Pool on a slope going to the water and on a drop-off going to the water. And later we're going to do the same study in Portugal.
Dr. Burney is still looking for 70 more infants in Dunedin to take part in her study. In Dunedin, The South Today.
The case for the man who allegedly stabbed 4 people in a Dunedin supermarket has stalled as the court awaits a psychological report. The 42-year-old appeared in the High Court at Dunedin by audiovisual link this morning on 4 counts of attempted murder. On May 10 this year, a man was arrested at Dunedin's Central Countdown after a number of people were stabbed in the supermarket. The man, who has interim name suppression, pleaded not guilty at his previous hearing and elected trial by jury. Justice Robert Osborne remanded the man in custody until November. A 5-year passion project at Wanaka's secret urban wetland Bullock Creek recently reached another milestone, with Friends of Bullock Creek unveiling informative panels next to the area's boardwalks.
Former English and science teacher Helen Horwath inherited the Bullock Creek Research Project when she joined the committee 18 months ago.
Overall there are four of these boards, and that was the first one that went up, and it's basically about the nature, the botany. This map here was, I think it was an original landscaping map that we used to put what was here, and we've got some of the pictures.
Each panel shares a different piece of information about the area, with the aim of educating visitors to the site. Helen Horwath and Wanaka graphic designer Eddie Spearing combined forces to create the 4 panels, some of which celebrate the natural environment.
Poirot, rainbow trout, brown trout, and a whistling tree frog, which you can actually hear sometimes now. And then we've got some of the birds that you can see. These are these native birds. Well, that one's not, but you can see them from time to time. And of course the plants, for those who want to know what they're looking at.
Horwath describes herself as the chief gatherer of information. and was pleased to enhance her own knowledge of Bullock Creek and its environs. She says the story of how the area was named is, well, pretty obvious.
And it was quite simply that one day a bullock, which was yoked to, I believe, a horse cart, not a bullock cart, got caught up on the banks of the stream Fallon and died.
Haworth admits she's now hooked on the creek's history and will continue collecting information, though she doesn't want to rush the next project and is welcoming people to share their stories of the area. In Wanaka, the South Today.
After sitting mostly empty for 8 years, Dunedin's former Carisbrook Sports Ground is set to become home for a major hardware outlet. The site is set to see a new PlaceMakers store opening next June. The Carisbrook branch will replace the current store on Portsmouth Drive and will be larger than the existing store. Carisbrook started its sporting life with a cricket match between Otago and a team from Tasmania in 1883. The last event held there was a rugby test match between the All Blacks and Fiji in 2011. The Dunedin City Council sold the site to Calder Stewart in 2013, with demolition completed the following year. Drizzle didn't stop mountain bikers of all ages taking part in the first of the K-Series races through Pine Forest near Oamaru recently. The event is one of 3 being held by the Mountain Biking North Otago Club over the winter months.
Mountain Biking North Otago kicked off its K-South Winter Series at Oamaru's Reservoir Forest mountain bike track, attracting keen cyclists of all ages, with serious adult riders trying to achieve as many laps as possible in just under an hour.
And so it's a number of circuits, most circuits wins, and the guys in the open class run for 50 minutes. And at that point, it's the number of laps you've completed.
The event also included an under-11 children's route, which Mountain Biking North Otago President Marcus Brown says is important to help youngsters build up their confidence and grow up into the next generation of mountain bikers.
So it's open to everyone in Oamaru, and it's really well supported usually. Get a dozen kids or more, and sometimes up to about 30 or 40 open riders.
Sunday's event was just part 1 of a series being held over the next month.
2 weeks' time we're at Papakayo, and then the last in a month's time is down at Herbert Forest.
The results of the 3 events will be tallied to determine the overall winner of the K-Series Open Class competition. In Oamaru, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Central Otago's horticulture sector is set to welcome seasonal workers from the Pacific, and closed borders and cancelled international competitions force rowers onto local waters. We'll see you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Be sure to tune in to Football Chat every week, where we chat about local football fixtures, results and everything else that's happening in the local game.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
What have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it. Chicks World. Chicks World.
Welcome back. Central Otago's COVID-hit horticulture sector is welcoming new seasonal workers from the Pacific who will be able to enter New Zealand from next month. Recognised seasonal employer workers from Tonga, Samoa and Vanuatu will be able to enter New Zealand only. Because those Pacific Island nations have not experienced community COVID outbreaks, the workers will not need to go through managed isolation. The move is aimed at addressing worker shortages in certain agricultural areas. There are currently about 7,000 overseas seasonal workers in New Zealand, down from more than 10,000 who are usually in the country at the season's peak. Police in Oamaru are urging the public to contact them on 111 immediately if they see suspicious behaviour. The message comes after 5 burglaries occurred in the North Otago town in 1 week. Police say 2 weeks ago, steel was taken from a yard. Last Monday, an attempt was made to break into a garage in Till Street, and the same morning, firewood was stolen from a yard in Oban Street. That night, a vehicle was damaged in Taywood Street, and on the following day, computer items were stolen from a home in Frome Street. Closed borders and cancelled international competitions may have forced rowers onto local waters. The Rowing New Zealand winter squad, featuring the New Zealand under-23 squad and senior lightweight rowers, have been training at Lake Dunstan as part of a South Island training camp.
One of these rowers should have been at the Tokyo Olympics, while other members of the under-23 squad and senior lightweight rowers should be training overseas.
I won't say it was easy. It definitely was hard. You know, the Olympics has been a goal for a long time, and that's, you know, now 5 years of training that I didn't get to put forward. But in saying that, I think there has been a lot of positives that have come out of this. You know, the ability to come down and have a look for a new lightweight doubles partner.
World champion lightweight rower Jackie Kiddle was a last-minute addition to the winter rowing squad, as she was scheduled to compete at the Olympics in Tokyo. But her lightweight double sculls partner Zoe McBride retired from the sport 4 months ago. Rowing New Zealand winter squad head coach Tom Stannard says the athletes would usually be rowing internationally. However, COVID has caused a different approach for 2021.
Geez, at the moment in the current climate, we can't go overseas. We'd usually be part of an internationally touring team as under-23s. Yep. This year, because of the pandemic, we obviously can't get overseas. So 24 athletes, or 24 people down the tour with us at the moment. And us getting down south was trying to emulate somewhat of a tour, but also an opportunity for our athletes to get out and see wider country, places where they've never rowed, and then also engage with the local communities for rowing.
The squads based themselves at Clyde and trained with the Central Otago Development Squad recently. The 24-person camp was an opportunity for the athletes to keep up their training and their motivation, as well as engaging with the grassroots rowing community.
Oh, look, I think it's huge. I mean, they are great ambassadors for the sport. They are what a lot of these young athletes are trying to aspire to. So, hearing their story, seeing their just flesh and blood and real people is huge for them, and gives them the confidence to try and push for that next level in the sport or whatever they want to achieve.
Says the opportunity to train with the seasoned athletes gave the younger athletes the confidence to push their strokes to the next level. Tom Stannard says communities like the Dunstan Arm Rowing Club have welcomed the national squad members with open arms, which he describes as very welcoming. In Central Otago, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, a person was airlifted to hospital after falling off a chairlift at Cardrona, and we check out the weather.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
Hey, what have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it. Chicks World. Chicks World. Right.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Welcome back. A person was airlifted to hospital after falling off a chairlift at Cardrona Alpine Resort yesterday. The St John Ambulance Service say they were alerted to the incident just after 10 a.m. and sent a helicopter from Queenstown. One patient was flown to Dunedin Hospital with moderate injuries. Cardrona Alpine Resort and Treble Cone Communications Executive Jen Holtman says one of their guests had difficulty with the captain's express chairlift, resulting in the individual falling from the lift. Cardrona Alpine Resort is reviewing the incident with its staff. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. The University of Otago is studying babies in water to see how the swimming environment affects very young humans when they first learn to swim. A project to help promote Bullock Creek in Wanaka has taken another step forward with new informative signboards being unveiled. And mountain bikers around Oamaru haven't let wintry weather put them off competing during the colder months. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't think we're ever going to tire talking about our success at the Olympics.
No.
Amazing day today by Lisa, led by Lisa Carrington, of course. 2 golds for her, and the second in the K2 500 with Caitlin Regal. Lisa's now a 5-time Olympic medalist, and that puts her up with Ian Ferguson, Paul McDonald and Sir Mark Todd as well as some of our greatest Olympians. She's still got 2 races to go at this regatta, so you wouldn't put it past her to pick up another medal as well. But yeah, she was amazing. Our America's Cup sailors as well, Peter Burling, Blair Duke, they were just pipped for gold, managed to pick up silver in the 49 sailing class. So yeah, great day out. Takes our gold tally to 6 now, so we're closing in on our record 8, which we got in LA back in 1984. So there's plenty of good athletes still to come, so hopefully we can get up and surpass that. We'll have full coverage of all that, and plus all the highlights of today's throughout the sports in tomorrow's paper.
Great.
Bit of a disturbing story out of Lake Hawea. There's a farmer's fuming up there after 9 of his pregnant cows were spooked by a group of mountain bikers and ended up falling off a bluff up there. 3 of them died, and the others had to swim several kilometres before they could be rescued. Pretty angry. There was signage up warning that the cattle were being herded along Dingleburn Station Road at the time, but these mountain bikers sort of came from nowhere and spooked the cows. They'd also agreed to public access on the road several years ago as part of their 10-year review, but they're obviously now thinking maybe we shouldn't have done that, and just asking people to just take a bit more care around there. So yeah, not a very nice experience for anyone. And on our fresh pages, we look ahead to Dine Dunedin events, which are coming up later this month. We've got 2 of the country's top chefs, Guerrero Sturla and Wellington chef Sean Colston, coming to town for the event. So Rebecca Fox, our food editor, has caught up with the pair to find out what sort of makes them tick while they're in the industry. Sturla in particular is quite interesting. He's gone away from those big restaurants and has now established what you would call a very small restaurant in Lytton, where they can only cater for 6 people at a time. So niche dining, I guess they call it. So yeah, plenty of other reading in the ODT as well tomorrow.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Craig. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a bit of patriotism as the New Zealand flag flies atop the Allied Press building. Looking at the situation, becoming fine tonight and mostly sunny tomorrow. Prepare for a lengthy period of southwesterly airflow starting Friday night and lasting through the middle of next week. This will likely bring a few periods of low-level snow and gales and a run of very chilly days. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, cloudy with 12 degrees in Westport and 13 in Greymouth. To the northeast, mostly sunny with 12 degrees in Nelson and Blenheim. To Canterbury, mostly sunny here as well with 10 degrees in Kaikoura, Christchurch and Ashburton. To the southern towns, the Catlins are set for light winds, fine conditions and 10 degrees, while Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore can expect light northerlies, some high cloud and 11 degrees. To the Central Lakes area, light winds, fine conditions and 10 degrees for Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra. Chano can expect moderate northerlies, cloud increasing and 10 degrees. To the northern towns, light winds and fine conditions with 11 degrees in Timaru, Oamaru and Twizel and 12 degrees in Omarama. And Dunedin becoming fine tonight with a low of 2. Mostly fine and sunny for most of tomorrow with just a few clouds, light winds tending northeast, cloud increasing during the evening with northeasterlies becoming fresh and gusty, a high of 11 and a low of 6. Heavy cloud but dry on Thursday, breezy cold northeasterlies, a high of 9 and a low of 7. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with light frost and a low of -1. Fine and sunny tomorrow with high cloud increasing later. Moderate northerly winds developing during the afternoon. Milder later in the day, a high of 13 and a low of 7. Fine with thick high cloud on Thursday, moderate northeasterlies, a high of 12 and a low of 7. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.